Welcome everyone to our next episode of Sedona, Woo, and Taboo. I am here with Vanya Lim. She's a multi-generational healer and acupuncturist. And this episode is going to be a bit different from the others. This definitely qualifies perhaps as a little bit woo and maybe definitely taboo. We are talking about sex trafficking today. And I would invite you, as you start this video with us, to drop into your heart, to open your mind, and to understand that the reason we're talking about this is to bring awareness so that we can begin healing.
Of course, there's some information. They have a website, ourrescue.org. You can get information about what they do, what has been happening, but by just being involved, I got to hear about a lot of different things that's happening in the background.
Yeah.
Working in a healing industry, actually, I had some clients who were victims of this came to me, and they were like right in my face, and there's no...
You can't ignore that.
I couldn't ignore it anymore.
So tell us what you know in terms of how this works across the globe. And you were sharing a little bit about someone from Africa and how she was brought here to the States. Like, just give us a little background about how sex trafficking happens.
Great question. Yeah. Trafficking in general, but most specifically children, it is the fastest growing criminal enterprise in the world right now.
They know about it at the federal level. If the police know about it, why is it still growing? Why hasn't it been stopped?
That is a great question. And that is something that everyone should ask themselves. Why is that? If it is the fact, if it is the truth, there's reports out there, then why we are not aware of this? Why we're not fighting this? Because a lot of people, those people who are buying these kids, are holding some of the important roles in our society. A lot of victims become a part of the enterprise and recruiting, kidnapping children to create this cycle. They also recruit or luring kids through social media. There's a high number of that.
I would think that would be huge these days.
Right.
Now, you had mentioned that there are certain symbols and certain codes that the kidnappers use to let other people know, hey, I have kids for sale. And can you explain some of those? Do you think the wall that Trump talked about building is actually a sex trafficking intervention?
So there's a lot of trafficking that has been happening over the border. And of course, the children come here, they have no birth certificate, they don't know where they come from. But if you talk about evidence, that's where people get stuck. I understand, because people want to know the fact. I don't see in the CNN, I don't see this in New York Times, I don't see in the news at all. And what are you talking about? It cannot be real. The interesting thing is that rest of the world is talking about it. Rest of the world in the main news are now talking about it, except United States.
Go figure.
I mean, you can do your research. All this news from Russia to Europe and South America talking about, actually, they're saying these words.
They're saying the word adrenochrome.
In the news, main news.
Mainstream news.
Yes.
Okay.
Except here, because most of the controlling is done and still going in United States. Right. And they've been recruited purposely, and also they volunteer. Amongst Hollywood, they jokingly talk about, I sold my soul to devil. It's not a joke, and it's not a just saying. They literally sell the soul for fame and fortune.
But people talk a lot about Tom Hanks and his Instagram and how he would put a single glove or a single shoe and make these kind of cryptic comments. Was that part of his pedophilia disclosure? As with all of these types of things, it always goes back to there's an elite, there's a small group of people controlling everything.
And we have been rescuing children like it's unprecedented, especially last 2 years.
Oh, there's some good news.
There's some good news.
Yay, my goodness. Like the shipping containers?
Shipping containers.
Okay.
And they have found children. That one I have a picture. I can send it to you if you want.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And what they did, these children, this particular picture, or the shipping was coming from East Asia. They hundreds of children. They put in a box. They drug them so they can be able to sleep. They sleep for more than 20 some hours. More than anything, we've got to stop this. We have to stop it, not just for kids, but for your own spirit. If I accomplish one thing that I would be happy is that bringing some form of awareness to people that it is happening. When you have that awareness, you're not going to look at the world in the same way. And people that I've talked to, they start actually gathering clues and they start reporting the things that they haven't reported before. They start seeing that there's something going on in the neighborhood. There's something going on in the door next door from them. We should not be like worried and be fearful and suspicious of everybody.
I'm glad you're saying that.
Yeah, that's not what I meant. I'm talking about awareness.
Yeah, people often mistake fear and awareness. And I find it a huge problem because it's like, I'm accused often of fear-mongering. And it's like, no, I don't have fear about it. I'm just bringing awareness. So I think we really need to be mindful of that also. What we're talking about today is not something to develop fear about and to go into fear about. We're just bringing awareness so that we know this is happening. I really believe that in order to find the best solutions, we need to be clear about what's happening.